You've seen those images in Facebook groups, or you've scrolled past that image on Instagram that stops you dead in your tracks and it moves you. What makes them and the artists who create them stand out from everybody else? I think I just might have an inkling what it is. And I think I want to share it with you today. You're about to learn what it takes to live free of fear, to finally feel confident in your work, and to step into your true authenticity as an artist. Get ready, because this is where we learn to stand out, to say yes to creating the work that we so deeply desire. Welcome. I'm Denise Birdsong, and I teach photographers and artists how to finally make their mark. Hey guys, perhaps you've been listening for a while and maybe you like what we talk about and we discuss. And if so, I would love for you to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you're listening to me on this podcast, it would be amazing if you would leave me a review and screenshot it and then DM me at Denise Birdsong Photographer, and I would love to send you some free goodies. All of these things are really helpful for me with algorithm, and I would really appreciate your time in doing so. If you find any value in this, it'd be awesome if you did that for me. Thanks. So, with that, let's jump in and have some fun today. You might be a photographer that's been shooting for, maybe a year or so, or perhaps you are a very well established photographer with a studio or a very thriving business. Or you might just be, you might have a full time job and you use photography as your creative outlet. It is your medium of choice for creating beautiful art, creating something of yourself and putting beautiful things out into the world. Photographers, what we're going to talk about today is going to be very important for you to hear. I'm guessing, as one of these types of photographers, you've seen those images in Facebook groups, or you've scrolled past that image on Instagram that stops you dead in your tracks. And you're just like, oh, it's so beautiful. And it draws you in and it takes your breath away and it moves you. And it does this magical thing to you. And you're like, what is this? And it's not just another pretty picture, it's something. Oh my God. There's something about it that's just, it's everything, right? It's beautiful. Or you spend a lot of time picking apart your work, always looking for some new hack. And when I say hack, I don't necessarily mean it in a bad way. I mean ways to create more impact within your images. You spend your time looking for new hacks, or a new style, or something that can just make you stand out from all of the others. There are more images in the world today than there ever have been. It's kind of hard to stand out. And I hear this so much from my students. I hear it from other educators. I hear it from my peers within the genres that I work within. And it's a real thing. It's getting harder and harder to stand out in a sea of simply pretty pictures. It all just kind of starts looking the same, especially when we're doing the same thing as everybody else is doing. Um, that only makes sense, right? I totally get it, because I'm drawn to impactful images as well. I don't want to look like everybody else. I want to stand out. I want my work to be beautiful and move people and take their breath away. And I want people to connect. And so to me, that begs the question, what makes these images that pull us in, that take our breath away, that totally move us, that give us all the feels? What makes them so incredibly powerful? What makes them and the artists who create them stand out from everybody else? I think I just might have an inkling what it is. And I think I want to share it with you today. With any type of formal photography education, or even being a self taught photographer, we learn that lighting, rule of thirds, posing, composition, all of these things, they're the things that make our work impactful. And while they do have their place in creating an impact in our work, they are most definitely not the only thing that contributes to the impact in our work. There's one idea that no one seems to be talking about, and it blows my mind. I don't understand why this isn't a conversation that we're having. It's so fundamental. It should be such an integral part of our craft, yet we don't talk about it. It's just like, again, mind blowing. I don't understand it. I believe one of the single most important things we all need to be discussing and we all need to be using in our work if we want our work to truly be impactful and to move people, which I believe as artists is something that we all want. We all want to stand out. We all want our own voice. We all want to be authentic in our unique creations and be creating work that stands out and is incredibly beautiful. And I'm right behind you, like cheering you along. We can do this. You can do this. You got this. We just need to learn how to do it. So here we go. This is the part where we start to learn. Your subject is partially responsible for how your image connects with your viewers. It's kind of a lot to take in, but it's true. And if we can all agree upon that, then we have a bigger responsibility than we may have originally thought as portrait photographers. Hang in there with me. I promise this is going to end up making sense. Just bear with me as I get through this. Not only do we have to be aware of composition, lighting, the rule of thirds, posing, styling, all of these things, blah, 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 blah. But we also need to be able to elicit a strong connection from our subject as well. This is a big deal. And this is a game changer. This is where your entire perspective on your work begins to shift. I think it's important to note here that this expertise is exactly why trained models are paid to be models. There's this common misconception that models are paid to be pretty. And well, of course, you have to be attractive, although beauty is subjective. A truly good model is one who can connect with the unseen audience. Connection is key here. In order to show you how profoundly this really is, I thought that we could take a look at some images today. So bear with me a second, and I'm going to share my screen with you. And we're going to take a look at some images with emotion and without emotion. We're actually going to look at one of my students' images. We're going to look at her before and afters, and we're going to look at the difference. Okay, so for those of you who are listening to this on my podcast and you're not seeing the video, I would encourage you to head on over to the video so that you can see this. But if you're unable to do so, I'm going to do my best to describe this for you. And those of you who are watching it on video, you're going to see what an amazing difference we're going to have in our work. So this is Tiana, and she is one of my 2020 students. And we have a boudoir photo, which is a subgenre of portrait photography. And this is before she took strip down. And again, in a sea of images, this is a very pretty picture. It's a really beautiful blonde woman sitting on a pink tufted poof with a creamy pink background, with a kind of iridescent pink lingerie and a set of pink angel wings. Her hands are very stiff and kind of posed. Her smile is a little bit forced, and it's a pretty picture. Does it stand out? Does it like grab me and pull me in? No, it's a picture I probably would just scroll right past. And then we have her after taking a stripped down picture, and you can see the model breathing, and you can see the model feeling, and the image is beautiful. She's laying in bed and she's got her hand up to her shoulder and she's connecting with herself, and there's a wistful look on her face, and it pulls you in. You can connect with what it is she's feeling, and it's just amazing. And the difference between the two photos is absolutely night and day. And we have some more after work from Tiana, again, as opposed to just an image where a woman is sitting on a poof with a pair of angel feathers looking a little forced and uncomfortable. We have an image now that's in a beautiful, really contrasty black and white, where she's leaning across the couch, grabbing onto the couch. It's again boudoir, and she's in a teddy, and there's tension throughout her body, and the way she's looking at the camera is very, very aggressive and very daring, and there's strong connection in the image. And we have another image where a woman is again sitting on a chair and arching her back and grabbing at her body and loving on her body and throwing her head back in a moment of intimacy with herself. And it's just beautiful, and there's so much connection. And again, some more of Tiana's work, where she worked with one of her male clients. In each one of these images, the connection that has been creative, these are not just pretty pictures that you scroll past. These are images that really pull you in, from a beautiful, beautiful smile that's like authentic and engaging, that you totally connect and like start to feel when you look at it, to the second image being one of introspection and almost a little bit of sadness, just the tiniest bit around the corners. It's just absolutely phenomenal, to the third image being so full of like a quiet, calm, beautiful state with so much amazing connection. And again, just gorgeous, gorgeous images of another male client that are full of incredible connection. Again, if you're listening to this podcast, I highly suggest that you head over to my YouTube channel so that you could see Tiana's before and afters. They're just quite stunning. Where she started in her photography journey and where she came to in learning how to create connection and imagery that is moving is just phenomenal. I think these are really beautiful, beautiful examples of images that are just pretty, and images that really catch your attention and stand out and create a beautiful connection. There are so many examples of before and afters like that, or just work that's like that, work that actually creates a connection. And those are the pieces that make most of us want to be artists, that draw us into this medium and make us want to create. We're just not quite sure how to get there, but you can get there. You can learn how to do it. And you're probably thinking, wow, I've never really looked at it from that perspective before. And that's okay. That's an okay place to be. But now you've had a perspective shift, and we're going to look at it that way now from now on. So honestly, I don't understand why it's not being taught. And I think that's because most consumer photography was meant to be photojournalistic, which is to document moments as they unfold. And that's well enough, but there's so much more that we can do. As the work we create as everyday photographers has started to evolve, we've realized that there's power in curating moments. There's tremendous power in fostering connection. And there is the most beautiful power in authentic storytelling. Those words might sound really familiar to you: connection, authentic, unposed, genuine, photogenic. These are all things that we recognize on a subconscious level as making a powerful photograph. So, why isn't everyone rushing to learn how to elicit these emotions and this kind of connection from their clients? I think it's probably because, as far as I know, I'm the only one who's teaching it right now. As a dancer and a model in my youth, I actually had the chance to perfect that connection before I ever even became a photographer. So it's a skill that I learned as a dancer because you have to be able to tell a story using body language and being able to connect with your audience without being able to speak. And it's also a skill I learned how to hone as a model because I had to elicit a connection with the unseen viewer. I was very lucky in having those experiences and then picking up a camera later in life. And in recent years, I've actually been able to create a repeatable process for others to direct with precision and intention every single time, which means turning every client into a dream client. But it also means walking into every session, being certain of what you're going to do, and knowing that you can create art with anyone. You can create connections and those images that take your breath away, images that stop people dead in their tracks because they're so beautiful and full of the human condition. I love my job. I'm such a lucky girl. I imagine this is not going to be a secret forever. I think that's probably why my students have gotten such an edge over their competition. And in fact, many of them are educators in the industry now. That's certainly no coincidence. It's because they understand how to elicit the connection needed to create stunning and incredibly powerful imagery. They all do it uniquely in their own way, but they do it so beautifully. I'm so proud of all of them. It really is fascinating to me that an idea this important is so misunderstood and overlooked in the industry today. I hope that our conversation today has given you a bit of an aha moment, maybe a shift in your perspective about this medium and this art form, and that you start to see the difference in the images that have powerful connections versus those that are just pretty pictures. And with that, go do the thing. Go out there and create more beauty in this world. Thank you for joining me today. If you liked hanging out with me today as much as I liked hanging out with you, I would be so incredibly grateful if you would hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It totally helps me with the algorithm. I would be very, very grateful. And also, if you are listening to the podcast, I would like to do something nice for you as well. If you could leave me a review and then screenshot it, DM it to me at Denise Birdsong Photographer, I would be happy to send you along a nice little goodie. So, with that, I hope everyone has a beautiful day. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next episode. And in the interim, please go do beautiful things in the world. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye.